Today on the Ask BP podcast, we're talking about what do I need to know before making that first offer. Stay tuned.
You're listening to another BiggerPockets Ask BP podcast, where you'll hear short, direct answers to your biggest real estate questions. Submit your question today on Facebook, Twitter, or the BiggerPockets forums by using hashtag AskBP. And don't forget to pick up your copy of the Ultimate Beginner's Guide to Real Estate Investing and other great content when you sign up for your free account at BiggerPockets.com. With that, let's get to the show.
What's going on, everyone? This is Brandon with the Ask BP podcast, and today we're talking about the idea of what should you do when you're first making that offer. Your very first offer, what are those steps you should take to make sure that you do it right? And so the question today comes from Dang from Alameda, California. Hope I'm saying Alameda right, and hope I'm saying Dang right. Who asked, what do I need to know before I put in that first offer? Well, Dang, here's a few things that I would look for before you make that first offer. Now, obviously, this will depend on what you're offering on and why you're offering on it. Are you flipping? Are you doing a wholesale deal? Are you doing a rental property? Those are all going to change this a little bit, but I'll try to cover the whole gambit here. So first of all, you're going to want to know the after repair value. The after repair value, the ARV. What is it worth when it's done, when it's fixed up? Now, it probably needs some work. Most properties that investors buy need some kind of work. So what is the after repair value going to be on that thing? That'd be a really good number to know. Now, if you're buying a rental property, maybe that doesn't matter as much. You should still know it, but it might not matter as much as it would for a flipper. Now, if you're a landlord, you're going to want to know how much will it rent for. That is probably the biggest number you could possibly know. How much will it rent for? What's the fair market value or fair market rental value for the property? And you can find that in a number of ways. You could find the fair market rent by looking online at other people that are asking, in that area for rentals. For example, you can go to, like Zillow or something like that, or you can go to Craigslist. That's a good place to find rental comps. Look in your area. Craigslist actually has a map feature that you can go look on a map, all the rentals in one area, and then say, okay, this one's 12, this one's 13, this one's 15, and kind of decide, well, this one's nicer, this one's smaller, this one's got more bedrooms, and figure out a good rental price. Make sure you nail that number real good. If you're looking for, you're looking for the after repair value, which we talked about a minute ago. If you're looking for that, talk to a real estate agent. I think that's probably a good way to do it. You can do your own comps. Go look at comps, which are comparable sales comps. You can go look at them. Your agent probably has to get them to you. You ask them, hey, can I get comps for the last 6 months for all the properties sold within, this neighborhood, between this price range and this price range, and then you just look and say, okay, well, most of them look like they're selling for around this price that are this size, and you kind of add and subtract. It's a complicated process, but you can kind of make some good educated guesses and then compare that with your agent or with other investors in the area. But really, you got to nail that ARV, especially if you're a flipper. So we covered ARV, we covered fair market rent. You should probably also know, obviously, how you're going to finance that property. Do you plan on doing a creative strategy, something like using a home equity line of credit or partnering with somebody, or any of the other strategies that I talk about in my book, the book on investing in real estate with no and low money down, which you should pick up at biggerpockets.com/no money. There's my commercial. And, any of those strategies, are you going to do creative, or are you going to do something more conventional? Are you going to go to the bank and put down 20, 25, 30% and get a nice long-term 30-year fixed mortgage? Is that how you're going to do it? Can you get qualified for that? These are all things you want to know before making that offer. It's a little bit dangerous to go and just make an offer if you have no idea how you're going to finance it. Now, that said, if you're confident in you've got a lot of options for financing, then maybe you can make offers without knowing exactly, but I still wouldn't recommend it. You should always have an idea of how you're going to end up financing a property. So let's see, we covered you should know ARV, the fair market rent. You should know how you're going to finance it. Let's see, what else should you know? You should probably also know, I guess, the neighborhood quality. That's really important. I always look for that. I want to make sure I'm in a neighborhood that can attract good tenants. Or if you're flipping, a neighborhood that will flip well, people will buy a house in quickly. When I'm flipping, I want to flip houses that people want to buy. It's really like a simple truth. Flip houses that people want to buy. I think Jay Scott told me that originally, and I'm just stealing it today. But I love that tip. So, make sure you know the neighborhood, what you're getting into. Next number you need to make sure you know. Make sure you know the repair costs. How much is it going to cost to fix up? Again, you're kind of working backwards when you're trying to figure out how much something you should buy it for. You work backwards from this, what it's going to be worth at the end, subtract all these things, and repairs are one of the biggest expenses you will have. So is it going to be $5,000 to fix it up? Is it going to be $10,000, $20,000? I'll give you a hint. When you're first starting out, most likely it's going to be more expensive than you think. You know, I consistently, year after year, make that mistake where I'm like, this is going to be about a $20,000 flip or a $20,000 rehab for a rental or whatever I'm doing it on. And then it ends up being like 30. And I do it a lot. I'm just not all that great at estimating rehab costs. Best way I've learned, the best thing that's helped me to learn, Jay Scott wrote a book called The Book on Estimating Rehab Costs. Fantastic. Pick it up if you haven't read it yet. BiggerPockets.com/flipping book. But anyway, really, really good book on that. You can also get it on Amazon on just kind of figuring out how much to figure out how much it's going to cost. Because here's what's the problem with figuring out repair costs. You go and try to figure that out by asking somebody online, which can be good, but prices differ dramatically in one area versus another. So it's not enough just to know that carpet can be installed for $1.50 a square foot. You need to know what can carpet be installed for in my area, and how do I find that out? And those are important things to know. And so don't just ask for a blanket number or go on the internet and say how much does carpet cost, but look in your area and learn how to discover those things. So learning the after repair value is going to be important. Learning your neighborhood, learn the strength of your market. You know, what are you dealing with? What's your market like? Are things even selling in general, or are things even renting? Those are all important things you're going to want to find out. So, you know, what else is there? You're going to want to know, probably would be a good idea to know if you want to put it into an LLC or not, because if you make an offer without it being in an LLC, it's going to be hard to put it in that later. Now, you may not want an LLC. You probably don't want an LLC. If you're curious of whether or not you should have an LLC, just go to BiggerPockets.com/AskBP, and there is a Ask BP episode right there on LLCs. You can also just go to Google and type in BiggerPockets LLC, should I have one, or something like that. You'll find a ton of articles on that, or just search the site. Search BiggerPockets for LLC, and you'll find a ton of articles. So anyway, those are just a few things to keep in mind before you make that first offer. The last thing I do want to say about making an offer is this. Perhaps more than anything else, you have to know, do you have the guts and the heart to actually do it? Do you have the guts and the heart and the commitment to actually follow through? I hope so. And maybe you don't feel like you do. And I'm not saying even if you're nervous, if you're scared, that's totally normal. But at least are you committing to it? Are you telling yourself, look, I'm going to do this. I'm not just wishy-washy. I'm not here for a week. I'm committed to doing the absolute best that I can. Because if you're not committed to doing the best you can, I don't want you to get involved in real estate, because you'll lose money. You will go broke. And people lose a lot of money in real estate because they're not fully committed to learning how to do it right. You know what? People get excited and you're like, hey, I'm going to learn how to do, you know, whatever, flipping or buy and hold or whatever it is. They get excited about it, but in the end, they never learn how to do it correctly. They never take time to read the books, to watch the webinars and the podcasts and read the blog posts and to read, everything you can do to become an expert, whatever it is you want to become. So don't just think you want to do it. Don't just wish it and want it. As Michael Jordan says, you know, I've said this quote before, but, you know, some people wish it, some people want it to happen, others make it happen. Be the kind of person that's going to be committed to making it happen. With that, let's get out of here. Today's success quote comes from Benjamin Disraeli. I hope I'm saying his last name right. I know I see his name all the time, but hopefully I got the name right. Who said, "The secret of success in life is for a man to be ready for his opportunity when it comes." There you go. Let's get out of here. Remember, in pursuit of your goals and your dreams, don't just learn, but take action. For the Ask BP podcast, this is Brandon signing off.
You've just heard another episode of the BiggerPockets Ask BP podcast. Submit your question today on Facebook, Twitter, or the BiggerPockets forum by using hashtag AskBP. And for more incredible real estate investing tools and education, including a free download of our book, The Ultimate Beginner's Guide to Real Estate Investing, head over to BiggerPockets.com and sign up for your free account today. We'll see you on the next show.